So we are at the final episode of Season 4. Wonder if we're going to have to deal with snow again. I hope not. The title doesn't suggest it, nor does it seem to be another holiday special. Actually, the character of focus for this entry is someone quite different. Instead of talking trains, buses, or barges, there's someone else we haven't met.
His name is Tom Tipper, the postman. Every day, Tom travels cheerfully around the island of Sodor.
Very interesting. A human character. At first, maybe I thought it was the little post van, but after seeing the front end, that wouldn't work. Anyway, Mr. Tipper's job was to take what postage Thomas and Percy brought on their nightly run and distribute them to the local villages that the rails didn't reach. This is such a contrast to other stories. How many times does that happen, but yet is done correctly?
He's always ready to help load mailbags onto the trains, too. "Thank you, Tom," whistles Percy. "Yes, indeed," agrees Thomas. "You're a really useful postman." "Ah," replies Tom, "but where would I be without me van? We make a grand pair."
That's true. Without that motor vehicle, things would be moving as fast as snail mail. By the way, did anyone else think the start of this episode might have to deal with Birdie? He was shown at the start of this story, after all. And look, he's right next to Bulgy. I'm sure that double-decker ain't too happy. However, somebody else wasn't happy in the next clip.
One day, Tom wasn't at the platform. A postman they didn't know dumped the bags on the platform and disappeared. "What happened to Tom?" wondered Percy. "And his old van," said the driver. "No wonder the new postman looks cross. Trying to carry mailbags on a bicycle would make anyone miserable."
What did I say? Taking the mail any other way in this particular universe would be even slower. I can't even imagine hauling around postage by a handbag on a bicycle. Are you kidding me? And that's just on a good day. How about the rest of the seasons? Yeah, no thank you. So why was all the postage being delivered this way? Well, there's a very simple reason for that.
"The postmaster decided my van was too expensive to run. The rounds take longer on my bike. I'm sorry, I can't stop to help you." "I wish I could cheer Tom Tipper up," sighed Percy, the small engine. He was just wondering about how this might be done when his thoughts were rudely interrupted.
Simultaneously, Mr. Tipper was being asked to return to the office on behalf of Top Hat. I wouldn't say Percy was rudely interrupted, though. Nobody was calling for him, and the guy calling Mr. Tipper wasn't even close to Percy. What does he have, like ultra-sensitive hearing? He doesn't even have ears. Unfortunately for Mr. Tipper, his next action was going to cost him more than he bargained for.
He was in a hurry and being careless. He propped his bike against Percy's mail car and rushed away. "Stop!" cried Percy. Percy's driver hadn't seen the bike and he started away. "Oh no!" cried Percy. "Now there'll be trouble."
Yep, that definitely confirms engines cannot move themselves. All these derailments and other silly accidents have been caused by these rather dysfunctional crew members. Although this incident was legitimate. The driver didn't see the bike, and Mr. Tipper should not have put his bike there to begin with. Unfortunately, by the time everyone realized what had happened, the bike was no more. And Thomas's face says it all.
"Never mind, Percy," said the postman. "It wasn't your fault. But now I've only my legs to get the mail delivered. Whatever will happen next?" Tom Tipper soon found out. Next day, he was waiting happily for Percy.
Really? From the way George Carlin narrated that last line with him finding out, didn't sound all that good. When in fact, the upcoming end result was the exact opposite. Not only did Mr. Tipper keep his job, but he also got a brand new van to deliver his postage. So what exactly changed the postmaster's mind about having the van that was too expensive to run? I guess Top Hat rolled up his sleeves and gave the guy a swift kick in the butt. Or something, I don't know.
"That accident did me a good turn, Percy. My chief decided a new van would do the job. Much better than another bike, and worth the expense. Now I can always be on time again." "So I did help," beamed Percy. "But by accident, you might say."
And there is nothing wrong with that. This story was a lot better than the last few. For one, it teaches the lesson that sometimes making a mistake or having an accident can lead to a good thing. It's not always guaranteed, but there's a chance if things fall into place correctly. And for Percy, that's exactly what happened here. So it's not only development for Percy, but also for the postman as well. It was unique to focus on a human character for once. After all, they are probably the second most utilized supporting character when it comes to these engines. And even though Mr. Tipper is not directly involved with the railway, he does work with them. My only question again remains with what persuaded Tom Tipper's chief to change his mind and buy him a brand spanking new van. I just don't see the logic. Anyway, aside from this, music was mostly solitary on this occasion. The only main cue to be heard was the Skarloey railway theme, which is okay, I guess. He does travel to both the standard and narrow gauge lines, so it would either be one cue or the other. As for locations, since Tom Tipper does travel all around, there were several places shown. Areas like Rheneas' station, the Lakeside, and Tory Rex station are featured here. However, it was Callan station that spotlighted most of the events that took place, and from the opposite side too. Okay, so that's that for Season 4. Certainly still a collection of classic stories, but I must say this season was not as impressive to me. Not really because of the content, just more of how all over the place the order of which stories fell. It started alright, then kind of told stories out of its chronology, then corrected itself, only to just go any old direction at the end. I think it could have been prepared better. But hey, it's not that bad. The new characters were still fun to meet, and all the new places and musical cues played were a blast. So now, on to my favorite, Season 5, showcasing another distinct narrator by the name of Alec Baldwin. Don't worry folks, we'll get back to Michael and Jealous. I have not forgotten him. Next episode is Cranky Bugs. Thanks for watching.